For 20 years, police called this case impossible. A young man dead in a car crash with no name, no ID, no fingerprints on file, just a Grateful Dead t-shirt and a note that said Jason. Then, thousands of Reddit users became detectives, and they solved it in weeks. It was June 1995. A Volkswagen van crashed on Route 95 in Virginia. The driver died instantly. In the passenger seat was a young man, barely alive. He had no wallet, no ID, no way to identify him. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, but he died hours later. Police searched his belongings. They found a Grateful Dead t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and a handwritten note in his pocket. It was addressed to someone named Jason. Police ran his fingerprints. Nothing. They checked missing persons databases. Nothing. Dental records led nowhere. For weeks, they tried everything, but the young man remained a mystery. They gave him a name, Grateful Doe, and for 2 decades, that's all he was. If police struggled to identify Grateful Doe, a mother in South Carolina was living a nightmare. Her name was Margaretta Evans, and her 19-year-old son, Jason Callahan, had disappeared. Jason was a free spirit. He loved the Grateful Dead. In 1995, he told his mother he was going to follow the band's summer tour. He promised to call, but the calls stopped coming. Margaretta didn't know where to file a missing persons report. Jason was an adult. He was traveling. Maybe he was just living his life. But deep down, she knew something was wrong. She called hospitals. She called police departments across the country. She asked everyone, "Have you seen my son?" But no one had answers. For 20 years, Margaretta waited. Every time the phone rang, she hoped it was Jason. Every knock on the door, she thought maybe he'd come home. But he never did. Then, on New Year's Eve 2014, something changed. A Reddit user named Grey Metal was researching cold cases. He came across the story of Grateful Doe. He saw the forensic facial reconstruction. He saw the Grateful Dead t-shirt, and he thought, someone out there must know who this is. Grey Metal created a collage. He put together the facial reconstruction, photos of the t-shirt, and details about the note. He posted it on Imager. Then he shared it on Reddit. Within hours, the post went viral. Thousands of people saw it. They started sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms. Someone created a subreddit called r/Grateful Doe. Suddenly, thousands of amateur detectives were working on the case. People started digging. Artists improved the facial reconstructions, making them more lifelike. Researchers combed through old Grateful Dead tour schedules, trying to figure out where the crash victims might have been coming from. Others searched missing persons databases, looking for anyone named Jason who disappeared in 1995. For the first time in 20 years, Grateful Doe's case was alive again. A few days later, a man in South Carolina was scrolling through Facebook. He saw the Grateful Doe post. He looked at the facial reconstruction, and something clicked. He thought about his half-brother, Jason Callahan. Jason had disappeared in 1995. He was a Grateful Dead fan, and the age was right. The man called his mother, Margaretta Evans. He said, "Mom, I think I found Jason." Margaretta's heart stopped. She went to the Grateful Doe Facebook group. She saw the collage, she saw the reconstruction, and she knew it was her son. But knowing wasn't enough. They needed proof. Margaretta contacted the Virginia Medical Examiner's office. She told them, "I think Grateful Doe is my son, Jason Callahan." After 20 years, a missing persons report was finally filed. The medical examiner's office agreed to do DNA testing. Margaretta provided a DNA sample, so did Jason's half-siblings. Then they waited. For weeks, the family held their breath. After 2 decades of not knowing, they were finally going to get answers. On December 9th, 2015, the results came back. The DNA was a match. Grateful Doe was officially identified as Jason Patrick Callahan. He was 19 years old when he died. He had been following the Grateful Dead tour with a friend when their van crashed on Route 95. the 20-year-old mystery was solved. So how did a group of internet strangers solve a case that stumped police for 2 decades? It wasn't luck, it was the power of collective intelligence. In the end, it wasn't advanced technology that solved the case. It wasn't a detective's breakthrough. It was a mother's hope, a stranger's curiosity, and the power of people coming together to help. Sometimes justice comes from the most unexpected places.